All right, before I start doing specific questions off the review, there's some notes here at the bottom. It says the quiz on sequences will be 22 questions. It's worth 53 points. Only 10 of the questions are multiple choice, okay? The vocabulary you have to understand, not define, but when it's used in a sentence, you need to know what it means when it asks for explicit or recursive form. You need to obviously know the difference between arithmetic and geometric sequences. You need to understand converge or diverge and the sum of a series. That just means the sum, okay? Find the sum. Series is when it has pluses in between. Sequences when it has commas. All right. That being said, the first question was which one, Morgan? 13? Morgan asked about 13. If I were doing this question on the quiz, and there's already 4, and they want 8, you might just find the next 4, write them out, add them up, okay? But assuming that it really said, you know, there's 26 rows, or it was going up by 5, and there's 110 rows, or something crazy, let's talk about how you would do this. This says the number of seats is decreasing by how much? -4. So the sum formula, let me go back and show you this slide. This is what the bottom of the quiz looks like right here. Okay? That's the bottom of the quiz tomorrow. You have those formulas. The 2 sum formulas and the 2 explicit formulas, right? Okay. That being said, we need the sum of 8 rows of which kind? Arithmetic. So the formula would look like this. Yeah, this is worksheet 10. The first term is 50, and we need term 8 to plug in here because n is 8. All right, how could I find term 8? 50 plus -4, yep, 7 times. So 50 minus 28 is 22. So that goes back here. And now I can find the sum. The sum of the 8 terms is 288, if I remember right. But again, if they gave me the first 4 and they only wanted the sum of the first 8, couldn't I just figure out what the next 4 are and add them up? Okay. Don't get too caught up in the formulas if it's not time efficient. What else? Emma? 15. Okay, number 15, everybody wants to overthink. Okay? Honestly, if you were going to overthink it, this is u sub 0, and it says after 12 hours, so after 1 hour, okay, you would find, what are you going to multiply by? 1.08, 1 plus 0.08. I wouldn't do this at all. How did we do this question back in the day? There was 40, and the growth rate is this for 12 hours. Okay? If you want to find term 1, which is 40.5, anybody 43.2? Okay. Yeah, you're right. 43.2 would be term 1. And then you could say I'm going to multiply by 1 plus 0.08, 12 minus 1 times. But why would you do that? Just do this. You know, after 12 hours, it will have multiplied 12 times. That's it. You can round to like whole number if you want on this, or decimals. Is that looking right, guys? Did I just confuse you all? Okay, just do this. What you need? Oh, I went with cells. Anybody question on something else on the whole worksheet? 16? Okay, this is a calculator typing question. That's all. It just wants you to use sequence mode on your calculator. But the first thing it asks for in your calculator is n min. Then it asks for u sub n, and then it asks for u sub n min. Okay, what that means is, what do we want to call the first term, 0 or 1? What do they tell us right here? So we're going to put a 1 there. Then if we made this a 1, we want to put down in this third line the value of u sub 1, which was 50. In between, it asks for the formula, and that's where you're going to put 50 plus 1.003 times, going to go second 7 to get the u, then parenthesis n minus 1. I will not answer questions. This is the only one that requires a calculator tomorrow, and doesn't, you could do it without, but I'm not going to answer questions about how to do this on the calculator, okay? That's the whole point of this question. If you know you're putting it in right and something isn't working, we can look. Like, if you don't have this at auto, like somebody earlier today had it at ask auto, and the last thing they had asked was like the 53rd term or something, and so they said, like, my calculator isn't working, because it was trying to do a recursive sequence over and over and over. It just kept freezing up. So if you put it on auto, we only want the 12th term. You can scroll down to the 12th term. It's $610. If you go over onto it, it's 609.9996, so it's $610. Any questions? Anybody not getting that? What? Yeah, it basically you only made $10 interest, right? Because you put in 50 deposits. I mean, 12, yeah, $12. 12 deposits of $50. Let me try that again. Would be $600. So you only made $10 interest. Absolutely. And the bottom line is, if you were trying to save up for something, you were just putting away $50 a month, and at the end of the month you had, or at the end of the year you had $610. So it all adds up. What else? Anything else on worksheet 10? Because otherwise I'm going to talk about probability, but I'd be glad to do any of them. Okay, write an explicit and a recursive. Before we can do anything else, we need to decide if this is arithmetic or geometric. Looking at the last two terms, I'm thinking they multiplied the top by what? 2 and the bottom by 3, but it changed signs, so negative. Let's go back. If that's true, then it's geometric, and the ratio of this one to this one should also be the same, yes? Is that also negative 2/3? Okay. So it's geometric. So how do I write the explicit? Well, it would be at the bottom of the quiz. It would say this. And what are you going to write then? Either a sub n or u sub n equals what? And if you leave those parentheses off, is Ms. Hoffbauer going to give you full credit? No. Okay, recursive is not on the bottom of your quiz. You have to know that it means I need to say to Ms. Offbauer, I took the previous term and did what? 2/3, where the first term was. And you have to have both parts of that to get full credit. And you could have parentheses here or not. I would accept it either way on that guy. Because if you just type that number times -2 divided by 3, it would work. There's no power. There another one? Number 4 is a fantastic question to ask. Because you need a big hint on this one. We did not spend time practicing writing series into sigma notation. So I would not ask you without a multiple choice to do this question. It is multiple choice on both the quiz and the retake. These are explicit formulas. What does that mean? It means N stands for the term number. So what should I put in to get out a -1? When I put in a 2, I should get out a 2. When I put in a 3, I should get out a 7, 4, and a 5. So when you put in the term number, which one of these formulas is going to generate this sequence? Do you understand what it's asking now? So if I put in a 1, this will get out a -1. If I put in a 2, though, here, I get out a +1. Does that work? Nope. We'll throw that one out. On this one, if I put in a 1, I get 1 times -1 is -1. Does that work? First term is supposed to be -1. If I put in a 2, I get 2 times 0. That one isn't working. If I put in a 1, 1 squared minus 1 is -1. If I put in a 2, 2 squared is 4, minus 2 is 2. 3 squared would be 9, minus 2 is 7. 4 squared is 16, minus 2 is 14. And 5 squared, 25, minus 2 is 23. And it has a sum up here that says from terms 1 through 5, which is what this is, right? So that one seems okay. If I had tried this one, guys, I get 2 times 0. So I get term 1 should be 0, which it isn't. So this one is easy to cross out. Do you understand what you have to do now? You just want to try them, put the term numbers in, see which one works. Great question, because I'm thinking most of you wouldn't have gotten that if we didn't go over that review. Okay, this says the 10th term. This tells us that it's arithmetic because it gives us a D value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out here somewhere is -8. We could just keep adding backwards. Otherwise, if we went with this, do you understand the idea here? The 10th term is the first term plus the difference 9 times. What do we know there? We know the 10th term, and we know the difference. So can we find the first term? -8 equals, this is -0.72, is that right, guys? Or -7.2, right? Is that right? Add it over there and you get positive 0.2, 0.8, kidding? -0.8? Don't ask me without a calculator. I got a sub 1 is -0.8. Did someone else get that? I didn't really. I believed you guys, but does it work now if you go -0.8 plus 9 differences? Do you get to -8? Yes? That's weird. The difference and the first term are both the same, right? If you could type it, probably get it right anyway. I can't type, so. Okay, I eventually got it. I put an extra negative, so between the two of us. All right. Somebody else? 7. 2 geometric means. You remember what that means? Yep, you put a couple blanks in there, but it's really important whether they're arithmetic or geometric. Why? Yeah, because they're different. This one you're doing what? Because it says geometric, you are multiplying by an r 3 times to get to this. So then you divide and cube root. I think you get 2.2 or, okay. You got to divide and then cube root or to the 1/3 power. And then you just go back and multiply by 2.2 and you get 11. And times 2.2 and you get 20. What do you get here? So those were the 2 missing terms right there. It's different when it says arithmetic mean because you're just adding. Still, you do the same thing, but you're adding differences instead of multiplying by r's. You're adding d's. Okay, what's happening on number 9? I subtracted these two and got what? 35 over 7. I subtracted these two and I got 35 over 7. I subtracted these two and I got 35 over 7. I did it without a calculator. If you use a calculator, what would that be? 35 over 7 is... Now, I was subtracting so that 5 value is my what? D. So, what am I going to write here? A sub n equals, which is 2/7 plus times n minus 1. And I said you could leave it that way, right? You can simplify if you want, but if you simplify wrong, you're going to lose points. So I would just leave it just like that. Recursive, can anybody tell me that one? Better? One more, should we talk converge and diverge quick, guys? Okay. This is going down by what? I think 90. But it's subtracting. If it's arithmetic, if it's going to continue to go up or down by a constant amount, no matter how small that little amount is, it's always going to increase or decrease. It's never going to approach a particular value. So this is diverge. Arithmetic sequences diverge. This one is multiplying by what? Yes, so the next one would be 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16. It's getting tinier and tinier and tinier and tinier. If this is true, okay, then it will converge. If it's geometric and r is less than 1. What else? Okay. Any ideas? How do we write a recursive formula from that? What's the first term? Yeah, some of you are just looking at this and you're recognizing this form, right? So you're saying a sub 1 is 900. If you didn't recognize that, what would you do to find the first term? Yeah, if you plug in a 1, you get out 900. If you plug in a 2, you get out 875. So as soon as you've done that, you should know the first term is 900. And to get the next term, I took the previous term and did what? Subtracted 25. Yep. Anything else? Okay, so you can finish this worksheet up for a little more practice tonight, but I also gave you 4 pages of extra practice on sequences. If you want to work on that, the answers are towards the back of the binder there, because it was originally part of the next packet. All right, I think I'm going to